Hi everyone, thanks for watching. I'm Dan Richardson. A great pleasure today. I'm joined with Tiffany from Dressed for Sale.
Hello, how are you?
That's great. And look, Tiffany's joined us today. She's going to have a bit of a chat to us about her fantastic business and also how her business, which is Dressed for Sale and staging properties, goes far beyond that with helping people sell their homes. So we're going to have a bit of a chat today. Thanks for coming.
That is my pleasure. Thank you, Dan. Yeah.
And we just had a lovely about 45 minutes with the staff. So the team's all pumped up and I think ready to get all of their houses styled. So for the people out in social media land, just will you tell us a little bit about you and where you came from as far as your business journey?
Okay, look, my business journey has been, or ours, my husband and I, quite unique. And I think that's why what we've built is quite unique. So my husband was a sixth generation farmer on a wheat and sheep station, had 3,000 sheep and 6,000 acres. So obviously has quite amazing operational skills. My background is I've been a BDM for years and years and years, or different sales. I've done radio, TV, internet. I've been a general manager of national SME companies. My husband and I never thought we would leave the farm. I spent 10 years having my 4 children living on the farm, and when we bought the farm off my in-laws, we encountered 8 years of drought. So we made the decision, which many farmers have now, which is devastating. We made the decision to leave the land, move to Adelaide, and really for 2 years had no idea what we were going to do. I went back to radio. Angus started working as a trade for another stylist, so he got to see the industry literally from the grassroots up and kept saying to me, honey, I reckon there's really something in this. We felt that there was definitely an opening for what we've now created, Dressed for Sale. Yeah. So.
And when did that start? What year?
So we sold our farm the minute my child was born. Actually, one of them, August 20 of 2010. We had our property we had our property, we bought a house, so we put all the farm into our house, if you like, which was a renovator's delight, and we were never going to have the money we worked out later to do it up, which is why we went to sell it. Gus, in the meantime, had been working as a tradie, doing different trade work for a stylist, so a bit of painting, a bit of flooring, a bit of electrical, not electrical, never say that, but no, I didn't, but mulching, gardening, things like that. And so he spent 2 years in this cottage industry, which until Dressed for Sale, it has been a cottage industry. I got to upskill on a lot of social media and digital, in radio.
Yeah. And what I suppose from 2010 to now, how many properties has Dressed for Sale been involved in?
We only started in 2014. So in the last 2 years, we've styled over 850 homes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And all in South Australia?
At this stage, yes.
Yeah, fantastic. And the business is, I understand, looking to expand interstate, and that's underway. Yeah.
So we look. One of our secret ingredients is that I've got. When you don't have a plan B, we've sold our house, our cars, and everything else. There is no option to fail. So I am an absolute marketing force of one, and I've gone for every opportunity. So we've been finalists in Telstra Awards. I've been a finalist in Optus Awards. I won Uber Pitch, which is out of 10,000 people. Which was a bit exciting. But all of that has been because we built our business from day one to be scalable, and it absolutely is. So we've now got quite a few people interested in working with us. So we will be in at least Melbourne, if not WA, in the next sort of 3 months. Fantastic.
And from the business model, I mean, I've worked with stylists before, and I've worked with yourself, and what's the USP, the unique selling proposition that Dressed for Sale offers to the market?
Absolutely. Look, number one is we own our own furniture. We're not subcontractors. Number two is that we've got our own Dressed for Sale trucks and our own delivery team. So, and number three is we've developed software, Busy and Betty, that talks to each other. It's a quoting, convert to invoicing tool, which this is more relevant for the eastern states, that talks to Busy, which is an online costing warehouse, so that we can enable same-day quoting, next-day delivery. So in Sydney and Melbourne, when we've done mystery shopping, if you like, people, it will take up to a month to get furniture placement. So that's really quite disruptive in its own. That's certainly what the investors have gone, wow, that's amazing, you're going to change this industry.
That's cool. And what's so for instance, an owner decides to say, yes, I want to get my home styled. What's the quickest you can have it from quote to
We've styled it that day.
Wow,
We've done same day,
So
because
same
we've
day.
got total control of the process.
Fantastic.
So we're not outsourcing, so we don't have to ring a trucking company with guys, we own our
So
team.
all the logistics is
Taken care of.
taken care of.
So my beautiful farmer, who's been, again, when people say, why are you different? Thousands of people have been doing this for a long time. Mostly it's been a stylist and their husband who have started these businesses, whereas Angus has got, you couldn't get better operational skills. Certainly resilience, if anyone's ever bloody tried to make money on a farm. And equally, I don't style. I don't know how to style. I have no desire to style. So my stylists love that in itself, because I leave them to it. So that's been a bit of a secret ingredient too, I think, coming at it from a business perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. And so how big is the team currently?
We've got 18 staff at the moment.
2.5 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so, but of those, there are 4 stylists and 2 junior stylists, and now we've got dressed interiors as well.
Yeah.
So for subsequent, because we're selling franchises, and some of the things that I do say to the franchisees is don't panic by how top heavy we are. To get up to 50 houses a month, for example, if you were to buy in another state, say WA as an example, you need about 6 staff.
Wow.
6 to 8 if you include your casuals. So
Wow.
it's really it's seamless. It's not difficult. It just hasn't been done particularly well. The other biggest point of difference, certainly again in the eastern states, is that we do all the trade work as well. So we do painting, flooring, electrical.
So my seller can come to you and say, I don't want to have to deal with this. With the exception of putting in a new kitchen, although I'm sure you could probably get that facilitated. But so my seller can come to you and say, Tiffany, here's the house, make it ready, and you can go through all the trades.
Absolutely, and interesting you've mentioned that about the kitchen. As we've progressed and we've learnt more and we've done 850 houses, a lot of people do overcapitalise and do way too much to sell some properties that really didn't require that. Often, and that's where we believe in the ethics of what we do. We're not going to encourage work that isn't necessary. There are really clever ways, and we're really good at that now, to sell a property. So for example, unless you're going the whole hog with a kitchen, by 2-packing or skinning, there are certain things that you can do to refresh a kitchen where people are more than happy to move into that kitchen. So therefore, you instead of you spending 50 grand on a new kitchen, you'll get 50 grand extra for your house that's for you and not for your kitchen. Now obviously that's different depending on, there are some jobs that are bigger, but essentially we can refresh by 2-packing and things like that and definitely get a faster sale and a better price so that the vendor keeps the money in their own pockets.
Oh, that's excellent. So with the full scope of works, so are all the trades internal, or are you outsourcing that at the moment?
We outsource them, but we definitely, certainly in other states, there are quite large groups that do everything that we're looking to partner with, and will partner with. But we've got great trades here, like the painters that we use have got 30 painters. So, for example, and we've built the relationships now. So if you said to me, can you we'd like to go and have an appointment in 2 hours, we want you to paint your flooring and your cabinet trade or whatever it is, we'll all be there. And that's the other thing, we've got those relationships, we've got that buying power, if you like, so that they might take a couple of days to get their component, but essentially we can move very quickly. But we project manage from there.
So and I'm assuming you're setting yourself up with people who are, I suppose, in line with your brand promise.
Oh, absolutely, and they think like us, and they're very like folk. Absolutely.
And from a point of view of, I suppose, scale, because one of the biggest, and we were talking before when you're talking to the group, one of the biggest problems that we see with companies that style is that they will reach mass very quickly with a small quantity of homes. I mean, how do you handle a business that says, it's okay to do 5, 10 houses? Once you start doing, what are you doing now, 50 a month, 50, 60, 70 a month? And how do you handle that? And I suppose what's the back end? How do you deal with that?
Look, it comes down to a lot of operations, but management as well, and targeting the market. We do radio campaigns. We don't let ourselves go dormant. We're busy when other people aren't. We actually have one of our winter months was bigger than spring, and we do a lot of business development and things like that as well. So we just don't let ourselves go dormant. But in terms of, ultimately, if you build your relationships, and we work with lots of badges, and it's interesting, only today in our meeting, one of the stylists said, a particular agent had asked for referrals, and we can't do that. We have to be like the UN. because we do work with all badges, but then again all the different real estate groups will work with realestate.com or work with News Corp, so we put ourselves in that situation, and it's not being disparaging to the agents. We absolutely love our agents, so we've created on our website, we have agents that use us. So if people say, who would you recommend? I always say, well, go to the website, these are the agents that use us. And people are now realising, certainly in the Adelaide market, that it's the best people that use us.
And I think that's probably really realistically the only fair way to look at it. So when you look at, I call it a brand promise. When you look at a brand, you make it certain expectations or have certain expectations of how that brand will perform.
Yep.
And they're the brands that you're aligning yourself with in the market, because generally they're the marketing companies that are pushing that level to get their properties.
And there's a trust as well, and I find it, and you would as well, and I always use the example of in Adelaide, the 2%ers. The really good agents don't need to be stylists as well, they're just really good agents. If it was me selling my house, I would much rather think that my agent has got a wonderful amount of database to work with to sell my property. So the really fast movers that sell houses quickly and for better prices will use us because we help them achieve that.
I know that my wife let me style the shed.
A men's shed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I got to build metal
I don't
sheds.
ever want to be in a shed, ever.
I suppose from a point of view of home sellers and the people watching out there, and I'll put up on the screen of how they can get in contact with yourself and the team. But probably what are the key things that I suppose your top say three of
the biggest selling points.
Yeah, the biggest selling points. Yeah, absolutely.
Number one, furniture. Number two, painting. Number three, flooring. In all instances, because obviously, to paint an area can have such a massive impact, and the same with flooring. People have got to. We help people navigate and understand that once your property goes to market, it's not yours anymore. You don't want it to be. You want it to be a product. And the way that we style is to highlight the features of your property, not to sell furniture. So it's not interior design, it's entirely different. So we get to see after a while, and we work collaboratively with the agents. You guys see it. You know through all your feedback what it is about every property that is its own USP. So you'll know whether it's the view or whether it's the size of a room or whether it's a certain flow. So it's like everything. If you've got beautiful eyes, do your eyes. Hide not even hiding the bad bits, but just focus on the bits that most commonly that people are going to really resonate with.
And that's great advice. We were talking before, and probably we'll finish up, we'll let you get on your busy day, but you were talking, give me a case study of the two townhouses we were talking about. Yeah, explain that for I suppose everyone.
I'm going to tell you two. My two favourites. There are millions. But the particular one, it was a duplex that an agent had one of the sides of the duplex listed for 3 months, and this particular group had been looking at it. It hadn't been for sale. It was empty. It was a brand new build. That agent then took on the other side of the duplex. We styled it, and they sold it the very first open to the people that have been hovering at the empty one. Now they're like, we know it's mirror, except we got it, we loved it. That's one. Well, we've sold one off the net in 6 hours. In fact, one of your team sold one to an interstate person.
I'll put some of that up on the screen. It should be up now, but we'll have a look at it.
But the other one was really interesting, and this happens a lot, is people who had it styled but not very well, and they're on the market for 6 months. They changed agents, we styled it, and they sold it in their first open. And again, that is not taking away from when you've changed agents. You've obviously got a better fit for you with your agent, but the agents that we work with really collaboratively, they're happy to say, look, this is part of your secret sauce. You're doing it, and it's what all the smart people are doing today.
Well, I find, and one of the keys that I've written in a recent blog is probably, and in the extent, and obviously, I'm quite open about, we don't get referral fees, or the referral is a good job, I say, but we noticed that people ask us the question, what's the best bang for buck or return ROI I can get on spending money on getting my house ready? And we're saying to them in this market right now in Adelaide, it's getting it styled right. It's about having the property look right. It's about getting it done right, so it transfers that feeling
Absolutely.
of actually being there.
And look, no one's ever spent money and not got it back.
Yeah.
And if I can say anything, like the things that I've learned in 850 houses is, number one, make sure that your agent is absolutely the right fit for you, and that they are modern and they do try these different techniques. But essentially, I mean, I've heard it, you would have heard it, often it's your first person that's going to buy it. As a vendor, I've been the vendor that's had unrealistic expectations, and if you do, and everybody, if all your agents are saying it's worth a certain amount, and you trust your agent because you've chosen a great agent, then they're usually right. And so I guess all you do is, you know, what you don't ever want to do, I'll give you an example of a friend of ours that wanted $2 million for their house, got offered in the first week 1.8 million, and that wasn't enough. They then advertised through 3 agents over 12 months. Somebody put in an offer for 165, they didn't take that either, and in the end they sold it for 1.5. So, you know, really trust the people that you, if you don't trust your agent, then you really need to think about why you've engaged that person, number one. And equally, that's the same with styling. Don't think you're going to get away with it. And I've actually come across, and there'll be some agents that may not be an age thing, but for whatever reason they might be flipping in. Let's say the mean in Adelaide's 450 for the want of the exercise. They might be in the 350 to 500. They might be in an area that's up and coming, or there's a school and there's an absolute glory run going on, and that's like they're flicking them that fast. They think they're fabulous. We don't need styling. We're great. And then we'll be working with their competitor agent, who will be, but they'll be getting faster and a better sales still. So I look at it and I think you're actually being irresponsible, because you might be loving it because your listings are flicking really quickly, but what you're stopping is getting that extra 20, 30, 40, 50 grand. Why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah, I've seen it happen. You know, we've had great experience with it. Look, we'll finish up on that. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you've all enjoyed it. If you're dressed for sale, dressforsale.com.au.
Yes.
If you have any inquiries, details will be on the screen and obviously in the credits. Thank you for your time.
It's my pleasure, and thank you for allowing me into your phones.
No worries.